We are
Didi.
and Arma, and in our daily lives, we support people on the path of self-liberation. We teach time-tested energy skills like Qigong, Tai Chi, internal alchemy, traditional nutrition, and meditation.
We help people release stagnation, build energy, and become aligned with themselves and their purpose in life.
In this podcast, we share the methods, skills, and solutions that helped us, our students, and now hopefully you move forward.
Let's explore transformation together. So, what are we going to talk about today?
Well, I think we found it fitting to start talking about energy because, the clients that we help and the people that we help seem to all, or most of them, come from a point that they want more energy in their life.
That's the number one question I get.
Number one. I mean, peace of mind, also things like that, but energy is a problem. And I think we're also in a period where we're really tested.
Oh, yeah.
It's
we're always busy with work, children, sport. We need to do so many things.
And we want to do everything.
Yeah.
And people get burned out.
Yeah.
People get all sorts of problems.
And then they're looking for a way back. How to get more energy to have a good life, to feel good, and then they come to us.
Yeah, and these people mostly have been through some rough periods already because I think, and I think they're sort of the lucky ones because they're not staying in this spot where they just move on, but something in their life happens that they realize that I have to change something in myself in order to move on. And that's, I just want to feel better.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Oh, no, you have, I think the masses, is that how you say it? They just continue. And they're just on this level that it's going all right. And then there's a group that is very sensitive. And they just, they kind of go underneath. These are mostly the people that we get.
Yeah.
Because they need to change. They feel this, if they don't do anything about it, then there is no flow in their life anymore. No. So, and then they hope to find this magical ingredient that we can give them.
Yeah, the pill. You just take this pill and all your problems are over. But what they don't realize is that it's the start of a journey. When they have this question and they come to us, then pretty soon they start to realize that it's made up of, I guess, two parts, right? And we will go deeper into that. But the first thing is, of course, is how do we build it up? Yeah. How do we build more energy? But on the other hand, we have to look at what is taking energy.
Yeah.
And it's the same, I guess, with money. If you want more money, you have to look at how you're spending money, right?
Yeah. Where's the leakage?
Where's the leakage? And with energy is exactly the same thing. I mean, money is energy, isn't it? It's also a form of energy.
Yeah.
I mean, you work and then you get energy back. Well, but it's in currency. But the same thing applies here.
Yeah.
It's like, how do we build it and how do we spend it?
Yeah.
And these have to be balanced, of course,
Yeah.
But if we look at the first one, how do we build it? I think it's maybe a good idea to dive a little bit deeper into vital energy and how the Chinese look at that, because that's very interesting.
Yeah.
It's like they see it, okay, this the Jing, as they call it, which translates as essence or vital energy. There's a part that you get when you
are born.
Well, not born yet.
Even before.
At the point of conception, there's something happening because your father, your mother, there's a connection there, and that becomes you.
Absolutely.
So, and they give you this energy that you grow up with.
Yeah, and that, if you think about it, this is like a ton of energy because they're these two.
This egg and this
and the seed.
Yeah.
And there is this baby growing out of there. I mean,
and fast.
Yeah. Can you imagine? And then when you get when you're born, and then this human gets out, and it grows so quickly. So there is a ton of energy, and you see it all around you. It's not just human. It's how can from a tomato seed, which is so small, such a big plant. So
Exactly.
this is what we call the pre-heaven essence.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's the part of you that you get from your parents. But I yesterday had a conversation with someone, and he's an acupuncturist, and he said, well, it goes way further than that. It's not only your parents, it's their parents and their parents and their parents. So this is a line. Is that like I mean, there's also the part of your DNA, you could say.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, if you look at if I look at my hands, I can see my father's hands, But I think if I would look at my grandfather's hands, I would recognize things, and his father, who I've never met, of course. But there's this line that you're in. So there's and here's the thing. I mean, this Jing is pretty dependent on the state of your parents at this point of conception. So what is their emotional state?
Yeah.
How balanced are they? There's a lot going on there which determines the strength of this energy.
Yeah. Did they have a good night when they... Oh, that's
okay, swipe. Yeah. So, but...
No, but it is true. And it goes... So it goes through the generations, and all this information that is in this what we call Jing, but it's not just the physical aspect; it's all the other aspects as well. Is the emotional state, as what Armand said. So, and that is, and you get parts of that as well. Good ones, and maybe
the not so
good ones.
Yeah, so imagine a little barrel, like a wine barrel or something like that, and that's mostly filled, at the point of conception. Yeah. The quality of it, well, that's dependent. We talked about that, but then you grow up, and a lot of that stuff, that pre-heaven Jing is used up, but there's a little bit left.
I hope so.
Well, the theory is that if you don't have any more, it's done.
Yeah. Then.
So, and that's where the other part comes in, and that's the post-heaven energy, is the things that we can do to support our energy.
Yeah.
And that becomes interesting because then we're looking at our food.
Yeah. Everything that you eat, all your foods, also the herbs that get into your digestion.
Your exercise, your breathing, everything that keeps you alive on the most basic vital energy level is what we live on. That's on what
food and breathing. Yeah. The air that we breathe in. These are the two ingredients that we take in. So it's from the outside, and you take it into your body.
Exactly.
And the rest is conserving.
It's conserving, making sure that we don't touch that the pre-heaven Jing. Just keep it there, guard it, and make sure that the quality of the other thing that we can influence ourselves, and that's important because we have influence over that, is that we make the quality of that as good as possible. Yeah. But there's a problem with that. Because what is quality? And then we're looking at something totally different, and that brings us a little bit to the problems where how do we build up, and what are we spending? Is like, what is the quality of the food?
Absolutely.
What's the quality of the exercise? What's our mental state? What is our emotional state? And all these things add up to also our lifestyle, which is very important, of course, because if that is not in balance,
then your energy is out of the window.
It's gone.
So it's basically, okay, I have to get great food, great air, able to influence the post-heaven Jing, as we call it, or vital energy, to not touch that other part. But if I don't get great food and I don't breathe well, then my body will tap into the pre-heaven.
Yeah, in this little barrel, there's just
Yeah.
a tiny little bit left, and that's dangerous, because then you see people age quickly,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
you see a lot of things that support also their unconsciousness.
Yeah.
Because the quality of the food can support the quality of your thinking, the quality of your emotions, everything.
Yeah.
But if it's not of good quality, it causes a lot of problems.
And it's you eat every day and you drink every day, hopefully. And but what we eat and drink is becoming ourselves, and it's this realization. I cannot pronounce that word,
Yeah.
but it becomes you.
Yeah, that's the funny
It's
thing.
be-
Yeah. Yesterday I was with this friend, and he had a cookie. Yeah, we were drinking tea and cookie. And he's like, "Yeah, this cookie is gonna become you. It has the potential of becoming you.
Yeah.
And if you take it, it will become you." And I'm thinking about it like, wow.
And then what food do you want to take that
Yeah.
wants to become you? If you just eat this fast food and food that wasn't prepared well, not with love and energy, but just quickly and
Processed food.
processed
or,
food.
Yeah.
Well, if you eat it and it becomes you,
What is it?
what
What
do
are
you
you
want
then?
to be that?
Yeah.
So you have to kind of be careful, and your body will not be able to digest it well. So big part of that will be somewhere stored in your body, but not will give you the energy that you actually want.
Yeah. So when people come to us, and especially when they start with you, it's that it's a realization of like you really make a list. You give them an exercise like, okay, just make a journal of what you're eating for the next couple of weeks, and then that becomes like a mirror for not only them but also for you. You can see okay, where's the disbalance, and
It's so funny if people start journaling and even starting with journaling, they say, oh no, now I have to write down that I eat this or that every day. I don't want to write it down, so I should not eat it. So that's the first step that I see happening. But then when they do write it down and they think, okay, this is pretty okay, eating this, or maybe they don't think this, but you can see what kind of disbalances they have just through that journal. I can see, oh, they eat this for breakfast. They probably have this and this disbalance. So it's just that quickly that it works. What you eat is your basics.
Yeah.
And if you eat well, if you eat the food that is good for you.
Because that's another discussion, but we'll get into that a little bit deeper.
Yeah. But it needs to fit what you need at that particular time, like
in that
now,
season, in your state of energy, wintertime now. So yeah.
And so
that's with food. And that's with the food. But on the other hand, if we're looking, there's the quality of the food, there's the quality of, is this helping you balancing yourself out in the state where you are in at this moment? But the other thing is like, where are we spending? So that could be, okay, wrong lifestyle, but it's also what is the thing in you that's constantly wanting your
attention.
What is sucking the energy?
Yeah. And the thing is, this is so related. If we're talking about food, everything goes to your everything you eat has to be digested, but also every thought, everything that comes from the outside in should get digested.
Yeah.
If you don't eat what's right for you, you cannot digest well, and you get all these thoughts in your head that
Yeah, well, let's talk about that. Let's talk
yeah.
about the emotional disbalances, the thought patterns that people have, and you could say there's a machine that's constantly on.
Yeah.
There's worrying, there's the
Fear.
past, there's the future, there's fear, there's all these, or negative self-talk, traumas in people, stress in people, and this is causing the most harm.
Yeah.
So I think if we're really looking at the problem of people not having energy, it starts with, I guess, the mental, emotional disbalance.
Yeah.
And of course, the food and your lifestyle can sustain that, can be turned around as well. So I suggest also for people wanting more energy when they come to me is that you take maybe 100 days or something where you just start meditating, observing yourself, make sure that the media is a little bit out of reach. So make sure no new newspapers for now, no news channels, nothing that can stir a reaction, because that's what's happening. It's all the reactions that people have on things that they see, hear, or feel that they're caught up in, or even locked up in, is what's causing all this energy leaking away.
Yeah. Yeah.
So they have to distance themselves and make sure that they allow themselves some time to step out of that and really sort of isolate themselves from it and start working on how do I turn this thing around.
Yeah.
So, and then it comes together. It's like, how do we build it with exercises, with food, with all these things, and then, okay, let's also meditate. Can you see your own thought patterns? Can you catch them? Or are you pushing them away? So these things are very important that people get really conscious of, like, what is happening in me and what's causing the leakage.
Yeah.
It's all about awareness, really. And that's the same thing with you, right? If you show them, like, okay, this is the food from the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, and this, especially when I work, when I work through the foods, I always analyze where are the disbalances, what is their emotional state, are they doing what they want to do in life?
Oh.
It's these big questions that we're talking about.
Wow.
But you see, especially when you're working with herbs, then you really get into the emotions, because you can work with herbs on a deeper level. They're really on a spiritual level. And what you see that a lot of leakage is in the patterns that we get from our parents, from our mother, from our teachers, our close family.
The conditioning. Yeah.
And that's, I'm always amazed, especially when I'm working with herbs, that a lot of herbs have a big impact just on these patterns. So they can really help you see. They're the supporters while you're looking at yourself.
Yeah.
And they give you the insights.
It is unbelievable.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they grow around you. It's like they seek you. They seek your attention.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm here. I can help you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they can show you, okay, this is a point where you need to focus on.
Yeah.
Do you have things that you have to let go of? Do you have fears? Do you have sadness still? And maybe it's not even your own sadness, as we were talking about the pre-heaven essence, the pre-heaven Jing. It might be sadness from your great-grandmother that she never went through, and then
she never dealt with, and then
your grandmother gets it, then your mother, and then it's handed over to you. And what are you gonna do with it?
Are you gonna ignore it, or are you gonna look it straight in the eye and release it? So this is going way deeper than most people would expect when they come to us.
Yeah.
when they're like, okay,
Yeah.
it's like, okay, I want more energy. It's like, yeah, but that's gonna be a journey for you. This is gonna be the start of a journey for you,
Yeah.
which is one of the most beautiful things you're gonna do
Yeah.
in your life.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of things. You talked about purpose. Like, it's like, what am I doing in my life? And there's a lot of people my clients or people I talk with, and they're like, yeah, but I should have done this with my life, or should have done that with my life, and they're sitting there across me, and I'm like, but now you're sitting here,
Yeah.
and could this be maybe the path? Could this be
Why you're here?
why you're here?
Yeah.
It's not what you do.
No.
Per se, it's not your occupation, although of course, if you can help people, whatever, if it, but it is redefining yourself and knowing yourself, changing yourself, transforming yourself, and then you're gonna resonate on a different level, and that leads to your purpose.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
And that's what it's all about.
Yeah, and that's such a beautiful thing to witness when people come here and they think, oh, I have stomach aches, or every time, or I have cold feet, cold hands, and they're just coming on this physical level because that's what they're dealing with, and they've heard from someone, oh, this really helped changing your food. So they come and sit at this table, and we're talking about food. And when they really step in, you see this transformation happening. You see that they're not only changing their food, they're changing their ways. They're making other choices. Not just food is something that you do daily. So you have to start making different choices daily. And what food I buy, what choice do I make? Do I buy organic food, or do I go to a regular supermarket? And when they start to make other choices on their food, they start to think, they got more aware of what they're doing and what kind of food they're giving to their children. But then it's also, well, what kind of other stuff do I buy? What kind of, and they're making these little steps, which adds up every day. And when I see them, sometimes, mostly they're done pretty quickly. I give them their advice and they go back into the world. Some go to Arma, or they already training at Arma's. But then I see them in a couple of months or maybe half year later, and they're transformed. And it's not one time, but sometimes they have other jobs. They made other choices. They look very different. They're more open.
And also, you see that they make also changes in who they hang out with.
Yeah.
That's a big one.
Very important one.
So they slowly get themselves out of these negative situations. Like, I don't want to be there. Yeah. And on the other hand, they go through transformations with their families or things, and also see is like, oh, it's not only about more energy. It's also about my energy. I can influence my energy. Yeah. I can influence the frequency of it, and that has a great effect also on their families, their close families, but also, how the relationships is with everyone, because it all starts with them, and then and it spreads, and it's also in different decisions that they make. It's not only on that level, but they become much more aware about environmental things, the cars they drive, the light bulbs they have. If you start feeling again, because that's what this is about.
Yeah, it's feeling.
It's feeling yourself, knowing yourself. That will spread out and will create a lot of love in the world, I guess. And that's the same as our experience as well.
Oh, absolutely.
Because we're coming from the same thing, right? I mean, I wasn't born like that, no, of course not. Well, maybe I was born like that, but it's more. Well,
I think when we were just born, you're very pure, but you get into,
Yeah.
well, you still have all these things from the generations past, and then and you're here in the world to kind of make free yourself and
Yeah.
and walk your own path and walk this beautiful path on earth.
Yeah, align with it. You know, it's like instead of and that's with all these things that can give you energy or take energy. Is are things working for you, or are they working against you?
Yeah.
If they work against you, they're also working against everything else. You know, so and that's an awareness journey. That's just awesome. So it starts with like, oh, I want more energy so I can continue with whatever I'm doing. No, my friend, that's gonna change.
Yeah.
Because it all leads to a transformation, and it's supposed to lead to a transformation.
Yeah.
And then if you're there, you're one of the absolute lucky ones.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And some people go through, they go to rock bottom first, and then crawl out and start climbing and working on themselves, and it's the most inspiring thing to watch.
Oh, absolutely.
And it's I'm so
It
grateful
makes my
that
day.
you I think we're so grateful for the people that come over here and then and see them transform and transform with us, because we're still on this journey.
We're on the journey with you.
Of course. Yeah.
And it's as simple as one step a day. And it's sometimes you go a little bit forward and then a bit backward and forward. But as long as you take that step and you make other choices, then
exactly.
That's the true transformation. So
wow, Didi.
Yeah, we covered a lot.
Yeah,
I think.
For
this
first podcast. That was our first one, and I can imagine that the things that we've been talking about today, that we can, in future podcasts, we can go a little bit zoom in on those topics, and this is more a little bit of an overview, I think, and
So if you have any questions, please do reach out. And we're happy to make other podcasts or videos.
Yeah,
and,
if you have suggestions, hearing what we've been talking about today, let us know.
Yeah, absolutely. And hope to talk to you again in the next one.
Yeah.
So tune in.
Yeah, tune in. Okay, thanks, my dear. It was cool.
Bye.
Bye.